going away, just as it is written about him, but woe to that man through whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that man if he had not been born. John 13:26. Matthew 26:24. Satan then enters Judas. This man, already corrupt, now gives himself over to do the devil's will and thus becomes the son of destruction. John 6:64, 70. 12. 4. 17. 12. Jesus tells Judas, "What you are doing, do it more quickly." The other apostles imagine that Judas, who is holding the money box, is being told, "Buy what we need for the festival," or that he should give something to the poor. John 13:27-30. Instead, Judas goes off to betray Jesus. On this same evening as the Passover meal, Jesus introduces an entirely new type of meal. He takes a loaf, says a prayer of thanks, breaks it, and gives it to his apostles to eat. He says, "The Lord's evening meal." Matthew 26:21-29, Mark 14:18-25, Luke 22:19-23, John 13:18-30, 270. This means my body, which is to be given in your behalf. Keep doing this in remembrance of me. Luke 22:19. The piece of bread is passed around, and the apostles eat of it. Now Jesus takes a cup of wine, says a prayer of thanks over it, and passes it to them. Each drinks from the cup, about which Jesus says, "This cup means the new covenant by virtue of my blood, which is to be poured out in your behalf." Luke 22:20. Thus Jesus arranges for a memorial of his death that his followers are to hold each year on Nisan 14. It will call to mind what Jesus and his Father have done to enable men of faith to escape from the condemnation of sin and death. Even more so than did the Passover for the Jews, it highlights true liberation for believing mankind. Jesus says that his blood is to be poured out in behalf of many for forgiveness of sins. Among the many to gain such forgiveness are his faithful apostles and others like them. They are the ones who will be with him in the kingdom of his Father. Matthew 26:28-29. Judas is identified as a traitor. Jesus institutes a memorial meal. What Bible prophecy does Jesus quote about a companion, and how does he apply it? Jesus tells Judas to do what, but how do the other apostles understand Jesus' direction? What new event does Jesus introduce, and what purpose does it serve? 117. During his last evening with his apostles, Jesus has provided them with a fine lesson in humble service by washing their feet. Why is that fitting? Because of a weakness they have shown. They are devoted to God, yet they still are concerned about which of them is greatest. Mark 9:33, 34. 10. 35-37. That weakness resurfaces this evening. The apostles become involved in a heated dispute among them over which one of them was considered to be the greatest. Luke 22:24. How saddened Jesus must be to see them bickering again. What does he do? Rather than scolding the apostles for their attitude and behavior, Jesus patiently reasons with them. The kings of the nations lord it over them, and those having authority over them are called benefactors. You, though, are not to be that way. For which one is greater, the one dining or the one serving? Then, reminding them of the example that he has constantly set for them, Jesus says, "But I am among you as the one serving." Luke 22:25-27. Despite their imperfections, the apostles have stuck with Jesus through many challenging situations. So he says, "I make a covenant with you, just as my Father has made a covenant with me, for a kingdom." Luke 22:29. These men are Jesus' loyal followers. He assures them that by means of a covenant between him and them, they will be in the kingdom and share in his royal dominion. Although the apostles have this marvelous prospect, they are still in the flesh and are still imperfect. Jesus tells them, "Satan has demanded to have all of you to sift you as wheat, which scatters as it is sifted." Luke 22:31. He also warns, "All of you will be stumbled in connection with me on this night, for it is written, I will strike